June 26, 2026. Guadalajara, Mexico. A goalkeeper lets a routine shot slip through his hands. The stadium erupts. And just like that, Uruguay are going home, eliminated at the group stage. Again, the same Uruguay that shocked the world in 1930. The same Uruguay that silenced nearly 200,000 fans inside the Maracana in 1950. The same Uruguay that produced Forlán, Suarez, Cavani, and gave football some of its most dramatic moments. Gone. In the group stage, outlasted by a nation playing in their very first World Cup. How did it come to this? This is the fall of La Celeste. To understand what Uruguay has lost, you first have to understand what Uruguay once was. In the early 20th century, Uruguay was not just a football nation. They were the football nation. In 1924 and 1928, they won back-to-back Olympic gold medals, at a time when that was the closest thing the world had to a global football championship. And when FIFA finally created the World Cup in 1930, they hosted it. And they won it, for goals past Argentina in the final, in Montevideo, in front of their own people. 20 years later, in 1950, Brazil hosted the World Cup. Now, and this is important, the 1950 World Cup had no traditional final. No knockout bracket. The last stage was a round-robin group of 4 teams, and whoever topped it was crowned champion. It has never been done that way before or since. So when Uruguay faced Brazil in the last game, it wasn't officially called a final. But with Brazil needing just a draw to win the whole tournament and Uruguay needing a win, it felt like the biggest final football had ever seen. Nearly 200,000 fans packed into the Maracana, the largest crowd ever assembled for a football match, and every single one of them expected Brazil to lift the trophy. Decades passed. Uruguay missed World Cups. They faded, but they never disappeared. Then came Oscar Tabarez, a school teacher turned football coach who became known simply as El Maestro. He rebuilt the national team from the foundations up, installing discipline, philosophy, and belief. And by 2010, something special was brewing. In South Africa, Uruguay arrived with a striker no one outside of Liverpool quite trusted yet. A forward with brilliant instincts and a reputation for chaos. His name was Luis Suarez. Alongside him, the elegant, devastating Diego Forlán, and a young Edinson Cavani, hungry and electric. Uruguay topped their group. They beat South Korea in the round of 16. Then came Ghana. You know what happened? In the last seconds of extra time, with Uruguay about to be eliminated, a shot flew toward an empty net. Suarez, who had been sent off, was watching from the touchline, and with his hands he stopped it. Red card. Penalty to Ghana. Suarez stood there, arms open, as if he'd done something honorable. Ghana missed the penalty. Uruguay won on shootout, and Suarez sprinted onto the pitch celebrating like a hero. The world was divided. Was it genius? Was it cheating? Suarez said, "The hand of God now belongs to me." They didn't win the World Cup, but they reached the semifinals, losing to the Netherlands. Forlán won the Golden Ball, the tournament's best player. Uruguay finished 4th. It was, without question, the greatest Uruguayan generation in 60 years. After 2010, Uruguay still had names. Still had Suarez. Still had Cavani. Still had Diego Godin, one of the greatest defenders of his generation. In 2014, Suarez scored against England, even after returning from knee surgery. But then, in the same tournament, he bit Italian defender Giorgio Chiellini. He was banned. Uruguay crashed out in the round of 16. In 2018, they made the quarterfinals. Cavani was brilliant against Portugal, but France outclassed them, and that was that. And in 2022, in Qatar, the cracks finally broke open. Tabarez had been sacked the year before. Cavani was fading. Suarez was 35. Uruguay finished the group stage on the same points as South Korea and went home on goal difference. The golden generation was over, and nobody had prepared for what came after. In 2023, Uruguay appointed one of football's most fascinating minds, Marcelo Bielsa, the Argentine tactical genius who had influenced Pep Guardiola, Mauricio Pochettino, and half the Premier League managers you can name. He brought intensity, he brought pressing, he brought discipline, and early signs were extraordinary. Under Bielsa, Uruguay beat Brazil and Argentina back-to-back during World Cup qualifying. In 2023, that's not something small nations do, but behind the scenes, something was fracturing. Luis Suarez, Uruguay's all-time top scorer with 69 goals in 143 appearances, and Bielsa did not get along. In October 2024, Suarez spoke out. He revealed that the situation inside the dressing room had become so uncomfortable that players had considered asking Bielsa to simply say good morning. That Bielsa wouldn't even greet his players. That situations during Copa America 2024 had hurt players deeply. "I preferred to stay quiet out of respect for the national team," Suarez said, but the damage was done. Some players had reportedly considered leaving the team entirely. The dressing room was divided. Suarez retired from international football in September 2024. At 37, after 17 years and 143 caps, the greatest goalscorer in Uruguayan history walked away not in triumph, but in tension. He later said he'd apologized to Bielsa for his public comments. He even left the door open for a return ahead of the 2026 World Cup. But Bielsa didn't call. Uruguay went to this World Cup without Suarez, without Cavani, without their identity in front of goal. On paper, this was manageable. Uruguay were ranked 19th in the world. They had Fede Valverde, one of the best midfielders at Real Madrid. They had Araujo at the back. They had Ugarte and Bentancur, Darwin Núñez up front. This was not a bad squad, but the tournament unraveled in slow motion. A draw with Cape Verde, a team making their World Cup debut. A draw with Saudi Arabia, and then Spain. But the truth is, by the time Spain arrived, the damage was already done. 2 draws, against Saudi Arabia, against Cape Verde, a team that had never played a World Cup match in their lives. 6 points on the table and Uruguay took 2. That's where the group was lost. The Spain game was almost a footnote, but it became a symbol. Goalkeeper Fernando Muslera, 40 years old, beloved, a hero of 2010, let a routine shot from Atletico Madrid's Alex Baena slip through his hands. Spain led at halftime. Bielsa controversially substituted Valverde in the 56th minute, his own captain, who had been one of Uruguay's best players. Fans couldn't believe it. Pundits couldn't explain it. Uruguay fought but never equalized. The final whistle blew. Muslera came off at halftime in what is almost certainly his last match in a Uruguay shirt, having asked to be substituted himself. Uruguayan fans booed as the team left the pitch. The result was historic, and not in a good way. Uruguay became the only South American team eliminated in the group stage of a 48-team World Cup. Finished below Cape Verde, a nation that had never played in a World Cup before. Bielsa's verdict on himself was brutal. "What have I left to Uruguayan football? Nothing. 2 World Cups. 15 Copa Americas." A nation that once defined what international football could be. And today, group stage elimination. 2 consecutive times. The same exit Bielsa suffered with Argentina in 2002. It's easy to point fingers. Muslera's error, Bielsa's substitutions, the Suarez fallout, the failure to develop a world-class striker to replace Cavani. But the truth is more painful than that. Uruguay, a country of 3.4 million people, has spent a century punching above its weight. The golden generation that reached the semifinals in 2010 was a once-in-decades miracle. Now that generation is gone, and what's left is a team searching for its identity, managed by a genius who may have never quite connected with his players, carrying the weight of history that few nations in football can rival. La Celeste will be back. They always come back. But right now, in the summer of 2026, they go home asking the same question Bielsa dared to ask himself. What did we leave behind? If you made it to the end of this video, you're exactly the kind of football fan this channel was built for. Not just someone who watches the games, someone who wants to understand them, the history behind the headlines, the stories behind the stats, the moments that shaped the sport we love. That's what football lore is. Every week, we go deeper than the scoreline. Whether it's a fallen giant, a forgotten hero, or a transfer that changed football forever, we find the story worth telling. So if this video gave you something, a fact you didn't know, a perspective you hadn't considered, or just 10 minutes that reminded you why you fell in love with this game, then you already know what to do. Hit subscribe so you never miss the next one. Drop a like if Uruguay's story hit different than you expected. Share this with that one friend who thinks they know everything about football. Let's see if they knew all of this. And leave a comment. Who do you think is responsible for Uruguay's downfall? Bielsa? Suarez? Or did the golden generation simply end, and nobody was ready for what came after? The conversation is down there. We'll see you in it.